In the past week, there have been several cases in which teens have either allegedly committed a crime or were caught in the chaos. This past Saturday, a mass shooting along Dunlap left a 14-year-old injured. Sunday, 15-year-old Michael Aguilar was shot and killed along Macon Road. A 16-year-old has been charged with murder in that case. Also happening Sunday, a 17-year-old is accused of shooting a store clerk to death over a bag of stolen chips and a soda. Tuesday, a 16-year-old is accused of shooting a security guard along Fraser Boulevard during an attempted carjacking. Thursday, witnesses told us the two victims in a double deadly shooting on Mississippi Boulevard were teens, their ages unspecified.
So it's pretty obvious at this point, Memphis cannot police itself. The culture is completely out of control. The mayor, Paul Young, he can't do anything. Memphis police can't do anything, and the governor has agreed to work with President Trump to send in the National Guard to fortify what's going on in the city of Memphis. It is completely out of control. But even in the black community, the opinions on how to actually deal with the issues is split, and it's split along gender lines.
Our young people aren't responsible for the environments that they're brought up in sometimes. And sometimes parents aren't there. And so it's important for us to realize that there needs to be more surrogates in our community.
I do agree with them bringing in the troops for help. I wish they had done it a lot sooner. Maybe my baby and other family kids would be alive.
I mean, I'm not saying that they won't help us, but they need to figure out how and not make it worse.
It's been so many promises. We've tried so many strategic things. I mean, I believe it when I see it.
The first and foremost, we need to say that this senseless violence in Memphis has to stop. Okay, they're talking about the National Guard coming to Memphis helping. That doesn't help. If Governor Bill Lee wants to help, he needs to say we need gun control. People shouldn't be running around here, guns willy-nilly, without training, without basically feeling like they need to be responsible with those. That's first and foremost.
When they leave, how would our city react? Are they gonna go back to their old ways, or they gonna come down here to arrest folks, or what they gonna do? You know, how would the city act or be when the National Guard leave?
So you heard Chief of Police, the Chief of Police for Memphis say, hey, some of these people, some of these children, they can't control the environment that they grew up in. Their parents might not be the best role models. We need to have surrogates come in and help these children. Hey, here's my response, here's my worldview on that. Don't have children whom you can't afford to take care of. That's real simple right there. I don't have any responsibility to go out and help somebody else raise a child whom they decided to have, and they knew when they had that kid they couldn't afford it. But when you listen to the difference between the women and the men and what they're saying, the women that was an event that it was a collection of mothers who were the women who were the mothers of slain children, who were the victims of homicide. These mothers are getting together, they're talking to local law enforcement, they're asking what's going on with the case for my child, talking to detectives. How are you going to actually solve this case and actually arrest the person? So these women, and most of them single mothers, they're getting together out of frustration because they can't get the results. They can't get the person who murdered their children held accountable. But then you hear these two men speak. And as a black man, that's when I was really, really disappointed to hear men speak like this, especially that second gentleman. When he says, well, what are we gonna do when the National Guard leaves? Is everything just going to return to normal? Men under the sound of my voice, black men, and in the inner cities of the United States, you have to do a better job as fathers, as husbands, and as leaders in your household. Why are you asking what's going to happen when the government leaves? That's the question we really need to be asking. It's not Washington, D.C.'s responsibility, or the governor of Tennessee, or even the National Guard's responsibility to come in and help you police your children. You're supposed to be the person who's keeping your children in check. But finally, it wouldn't be the Democratic Party unless they came in and chimed in on this subject and completely play the race card like they often do. A bunch of Democrats, local Democratic leaders, had a big press conference the other day, and there was a hodgepodge of speakers who were there, but there's two or three of them I want to concentrate on in particular. Let's take a look at these and just listen to this lack of accountability and fear-mongering coming from the left.
You want to call us all criminals? Less than 3% of the population of the city of Memphis commits crime, but 100% of us will be occupied if we bow down today to Donald Trump. 97% of us haven't done a thing except survive and thrive and grit and grind. But you want to send the National Guard to keep us in our houses and to keep us away from the polls. This is a direct connection to the 2026 midterms and the 2028 election. So we say no to Donald Trump. Absolutely no. We say no to the National Guard. No. We say no to Bill Lee. No. And we're voting in 2026. Yes. We're voting in 2028. Yes. And we are not going to allow the National Guard to come and have peace in a city where they are here to terrorize us. And we are not going to negotiate with the terrorist named Donald Trump.
As usual, you've got the Democrats coming out with their very ignorant conspiracy theories. Oh, they're just sending the troops to Memphis because they're trying to keep us from voting and keep us in our houses, and they're trying to terrorize us. You mean like the citizens in Memphis right now who are terrorized, who are afraid to go out at night, afraid to go to certain parts of town because they don't know if they're going to be a random casualty in a cross shooting or drive-by or carjacking? That's not being terrorized. Again, but there's a couple more, and again, it's just the same thing over and over again from the left. Take a look at this.
We say no. 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 We believe that our city deserves investment. Yes. We deserve billions of dollars of investment from the state government, billions of dollars in financial investment from the federal government that we have been deprived for decades. And here's what's happening, Memphis. We got some folks in positions of power who are bending the knee, bowing down, kissing the ring, saying we just got to do what they say. We can't speak up against it. We can't have any lawsuits against it. We just got to accept oppression. But we from Memphis. And the story of this place is people who stand up against oppression. The story of this place from Ida B. Wells and Robert R. Church and those 1,300 sanitation workers. It is a story of resistance against a status quo that is more interested in seeing us die, in seeing us lose, in seeing us suffer, than providing us the resources that we need to educate every child, to feed every person in our city, to house every person, to pave every road. How can you deprive us of resources and then tell us the only solution is military occupation? We need poverty eradication, not military occupation. So Donald Trump, Governor Bill Lee, and every elected official in Memphis and Shelby County who want to ride with them, we say no. We say no. We say no.
And again, the whole "we need resources" argument. Perhaps someone should give him a pick. That'd be a good resource for him to have. But I digress. That's the other thing I hate, is when everybody has to give a history lesson. Everybody knows everything that happened 60 years ago to black people. How about we start, instead of looking backwards and having a history lesson every 5 seconds, why don't we look at today, in 2025, this is going to be history 60 years from now. What are we doing today to create a better future for 2085 like they did in the 60s for 2025? But no, it's, hey, give us more money. How about over 50% of black people have credit scores below 620? That's not racism. Get your credit score up. Only less than a third of black people are homeowners. How about you go out there, after you get your credit score up, become a homeowner so you can create some generational wealth to leave some money to your kids? How about buy some life insurance? How about invest in your 401k? How about just open a business? Doesn't have to be a big business, but open a business. There are tons of things there are an innumerable amount of things that black people could be doing that they could better their circumstances on their own. We don't have to sit around and wait for money to come from Washington. There are things that we could be doing right now. But the number one thing that black people could be doing in Memphis, like these people at this rally, instead of calling everyone names and trying to make this thinly veiled attack against the mayor for, when he says bending the knee, he's talking about Mayor Paul Young cooperating with the governor and cooperating with Washington, D.C. How about the black community of Memphis come together and say, no more violence in this city, and if you are a black kid who goes out here and you pull a trigger or you shoot someone, we are going to hunt you down, arrest you, throw you in jail, and throw away the key. That's something that would actually have some tangible results, because as soon as the danger is gone, businesses come in and they start to invest because they feel safe. Then when businesses come in, you have jobs that are available. Then when those jobs are available, that local business is paying sales taxes. The people who are working there are paying payroll taxes. Now there's more finances for the local government to fund those programs that you keep begging money from Washington, D.C. You can create the circumstances in Memphis yourselves for a better tomorrow for your fellow citizens in the city of Memphis. I just hate when I hear grown people sounding like children. We can't help ourselves. You left the guns out here, so we have to pull the trigger. We can't help ourselves. We have to commit crime because you won't give us any resources. It's completely ignorant.
My name is Amber Sherman. I'm the Tennessee lead organizer of Black Voters Matter. We need opportunity, not occupation. That's right. And I want to talk a little bit about what that looks like. Tell it. So although so many federal funds have been removed from the city of Memphis that would actually give us opportunity, just last year, the official Black Lives Matter Memphis chapter made sure that over 300 students went to therapy for over 6 months and received wraparound services that lowered the youth crime in the city. Yeah. Just this past year, the collective blueprint increased their youth economic development programming in partnership with the city to make sure there were wraparound services like child care stipends, emergency transportation support, make sure they had mentors, so if they didn't get the job that they wanted, they were able to still get further skills with a mentor to get that opportunity they needed. Yes. That's the kind of investment that we need. We don't need the military, we don't need the National Guard, we need investment in the city. We need a county commission that's brave, that votes for a tax increase to give more opportunity to us. We need a federal government that puts more money into affordable housing. We don't burn up all our houses from these outside investors, and then don't put anything in place to make sure that we keep getting all our housing as well. We need child care options and child care subsidies so that folks can go to work. When they get a good paying job, they can make sure they can show up and on time. We need actual and tangible investment into the real issues for poverty eradication. We do not need military occupation. Thank you.
So interesting to me, every time you have a group of black people who get together and do a rally like this, it's like you're at a church revival, everybody clapping and amen, blah, blah, blah. But to that last speaker, again, just sounds like a child. We need poverty eradication. You know what's the best way to get rid of poverty? An education. Get a skill. Get a skill that people are willing to pay for, so that way you can make the money that you need to take care of yourself and your family. That's not David Seaton, that's Thomas Sowell. Then she talks about we need child care subsidies so that you can show up to work and not show up late. So now she's surreptitiously putting out the CPT, the Color People Time thing. But again, you know what would eliminate the need for child care services? Stop having children you can't afford. And so I don't understand. People go out here and you make bad choices, and then you want to blame the government and say that it's them being racist, that they're not reallocating resources to help subsidize the poor life decisions that you made. Then she's talking about, oh, we need affordable housing because these silent investors are coming in and buying up all these houses. Yeah, because you know why? You know why they're able to come in and buy those houses? Because those houses go into foreclosure. They either go into foreclosure or they get sold at tax sale, because guess what? The people who are living there either don't pay the mortgage or they don't pay the taxes because they don't have the job, because they didn't get the education, they didn't do the things that they needed to do to prepare themselves so they would be self-sufficient. We all know that things happen. We all know that there are unforeseen sets of circumstances, but you're not going to convince me that an entire group of people, the entire black portion, the majority of the black residents living in Memphis, Tennessee, or Chicago, Illinois, or Detroit, Michigan, or Birmingham, Alabama, or Jackson, Mississippi, or Houston, Texas, you're not going to convince me that these people live all over the country. They live in all different areas of the country that have all sorts of different opportunities. But if you go to any one of those cities, you see the exact same thing. And the reason is because they keep blaming the government and racism when the issue is really culture. Stop having babies out of wedlock, get married, get a skill, get a trade, get a degree, get out there and take some risks, try to open up a business, invest some money, become a homeowner, buy some life insurance so that when you die, you don't have to have a GoFundMe. I mean, these are just basic things that when we look at other ethnicities who are more successful, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to beg Washington, D.C. for resources, and then when they don't give you the resources, you want to say, oh, Trump is racist and he won't give these resources, so that's why we're failing. Memphis has been failing for decades, way before Donald Trump became president. So you don't get to blame Donald Trump right now because he's taking a different approach to try and help Memphis be a safer place for everyone who lives in Memphis. If the National Guard comes into Memphis and helps Memphis, it doesn't just help white people, it helps everybody. So it's so infuriating, it's so frustrating just to hear the same excuses and same infantile reasoning from black people over and over and over again. All we have to do is just make better decisions, and if you make better decisions, guess what? Big surprise, you'll have better outcomes. If you're still hanging out, do me a favor, jump in the comment section and let me know. Is the issue culture, or is the issue racism and Trump and the National Guard? What's the real issue? What's the thing that actually is going to create long-term solutions to what's going on in Memphis right now? Again, hit that subscribe button, drop a comment, drop a like, and I will catch you in the next one.